You're my world, you're every breath I take. You're my world, you're every move I make. Other eyes see the stars up in the skies, but for me they shine within your eyes as the trees reach for the sun above. So my arms reach out to you for love. With your hand resting in mine, I feel a power so divine. You're my world, you are my night and day. You're my world, you're every prayer I pray. If our love ceases to be, then it's the end of my world for me. With your hand resting in mine, I feel a power so divine. You're my world, you are my night and day. You're my world, you're every prayer I pray. If our love ceases to be, then it's the end of my world, end of my world, end of my world for me.
On behalf of the family of Kevin John Minogue, affectionately known to you all as Kerrie Le Gore, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for attending here today to celebrate his life. And how appropriate, one day before Remembrance Day. My name is Leslie Borden and I'm the funeral celebrant, working in conjunction with Peter Robertson. This service is to be a service of thanksgiving to actually celebrate Kevin's life. So I'm going to ask you all to be prepared to smile a little, laugh a little, as well as have a tear or two. And I know that funerals are definitely a time for grieving and to express our loss through tears. And I've got some competition with a few already. But there are also times nowadays to remember all those wonderfully happy occasions. And as Kerrie had such a great sense of the ridiculous and a flair for entertainment in all walks of life, I'm sure that there are going to be many, many laughs as well as tears today. At the conclusion of today's service, Paul, known to most of you as Pearl, and Kevin's family and friends welcome you to join them for refreshments here at Ormond Hall, with an opportunity to exchange some reminiscences and memories about Kerrie. But afterwards, the Greyhound Hotel, which is usually closed on Tuesdays, is opening specially for those who choose to join their friends there for a drink to remember Kerrie. You'll have a chance there to add your own memories and jokes to her amazing life. There's also a restaurant next door to here if people want to stay here longer. Kevin Atwood is videoing the service and videoing, that's hard, videoing the service, which will be available later on YouTube and on Facebook. Also, if you missed signing the memorial books on entering the chapel today, please do so before leaving. It's the only record that the family has of your attendance, and it's very difficult for them to remember you all at this time of grief. And please be sure to collect a bookmark as a keepsake for Kerrie's memory. Dominic Cincotta has been a close friend of Kerrie, Paul and Ken Payne for decades, and he's kindly agreed to perform for us here today. So please welcome Dominic.
Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, and give us faith so we'll be safe. Sogniamo un mondo senza più violenza, un mondo di giustizia e di speranza, una melodia, ma non so vicino, simbolo di pace, di fraternità. We life be kind and watch us from above, and we hope it so we'll find another soul to love. Let this be our prayer. Let this be our prayer, just like every child needs to find a place. Guide us with your grace, and give us faith so we'll be safe. Nella fede che hai acceso io.
What a fantastic start, Dominic, on behalf of us all. Thank you so much. Both of Kevin's sisters, Maureen and Judy, have combined to write a lovely tribute to their brother, which I'm privileged to read on their behalf. It needs to be said that Kerrie kept her stage life quite separately from Kevin's childhood family. They did not attend any of his performances, as was his wish. So I think they're going to have quite a surprise today. But I have to tell you all, they're prepared for it. And they have written some lovely words. Kevin was born on the 11th of February 1955 at the Royal Women's Hospital here in Melbourne. He was the apple of Dad and Mum's eyes, particularly Mum. Maureen was like his second mother, being 13 when he was born, and she spoiled him. Judy used to jokingly tell him that he was adopted. She jestingly said that Dad and Mum saw him in a Myers window and brought him home. Maureen and Judy go on to say, we would go to dinner every Sunday at our grandmother's home in North Melbourne, and Kevin would provide the entertainment after dinner. He would sing and dance for our grandmother and our two aunts, and they absolutely loved it. Kevin attended St Gabriel's Primary School in Reservoir, where we lived. And Dad died when Kevin was only 13. And then Kevin went to Marist Brothers Secondary College in North Fitzroy. He worked in the public service for a number of years before going into entrepreneurship and promotions. We had great family gatherings, Mum's special birthdays, her 60th surprise at North Road, and 80th and 85th at Carrama Avenue, with Pokey's Piano Mary. Kevin thought a lot of all his uncles, aunts and cousins, and he always enjoyed family gatherings, singing, dancing and the like. When Kevin met Paul in 1973, we thought they were mates. When they moved in together, the penny dropped. And we now go forward 42 years. Amazing. Paul, Maureen and Judy particularly wish to thank Alan Mabry for all the time and effort he's put into this tribute for Kevin. His help has been invaluable. And Maureen and Judy, on behalf of us all, thank you for a great tribute to Kevin. It's my privilege to share now some memories from Kevin's long-life partner, Paul. Paul and Kevin met at the Dover after the grand final between Carlton and Richmond in 1973. Carlton lost, much to Pearl's annoyance. Over drinks and watching the game, they were introduced by friends, after which Paul asked him out, and slowly they went out more frequently, mostly to the Union Hotel in Carlton or to the Savoy Plaza where they had a jukebox. These were the days before DJs. A year later they moved into St James Street in Malvern, then to Myros Place in Ascot Vale, and in 1975 they enjoyed a honeymoon, travelling on the overland to Adelaide, then trained from Port Pirie to Perth. A year later they had their first big party together, where everyone had to cross-dress, and Kevin accepted no concessions. And after many discussions, even Pearl made a huge effort, and she put on a dress. When they next moved to North Road, Brighton, the parties continued. One a year through the warm months of the next 3 years. and what fabulous parties they were, the glitterata of Melbourne attending. Their next move was for 8 to 9 years, which they spent in Briggs Street, Caulfield. And during this time, Kerrie was asked to do shows for Robert Smith, the then general manager of North Melbourne Football Club, starting in 1980 when Wayne Kerrie was just a baby. All those shows were organised and conducted without payment, but Kevin just loved it all. The next move was to Bay Road, Sandringham, and now Kevin was able to have a garden, which he so loved. When he went overseas, Paul left the wharves, and with his payout, he decided to buy their own first home in Carramar Avenue in 1990. So when Kerrie came home from overseas, one of the first things Pearl said to him was, "Guess what? I found a house." Nobby and Sheila helped them to do it up until it was finished in 1995 and has been a happy home to them both ever since. The deco dining room ceiling was a focal point of the hundreds of magical dinners, and it's a constant conversation piece. Two things about Paul and Kevin's home that have always been obvious to all who visited have been their love of their home and garden and the love of their dogs. The dogs have just been such a big part of the family there, with Kerrie being a parent at all times, and such company in time of ill health. Kevin loved entertaining, as you all know, and he was a very good cook. Their home was always full of friends, sometimes acting as Carramar B&B, and sometimes, or mostly, the Carramar restaurant, with dinner parties up to 14 people sometimes, being wined and dined to perfection in the shadows of the baby grand piano with its Hall of Fame of photos on top, and Kerrie and Paul entertaining at their best and always loving it. Kerrie's health has not been good over the last 3 years, with foot problems, a dicey heart, and he has survived a hip replacement and a knee reconstruction, all without complaint. He just never complained, just smiled and kept on going. Several times in the last years, Paul felt that the hospital stays were just too much and he'd never see Kerrie again. But somehow Kerrie recovered and returned home and started entertaining again and even performing occasionally at the Greyhound and friends' birthdays. Kevin did so much for others throughout his life. He did voluntary concerts for the Victorian AIDS Council, helped numerous young entertainers find their way, and decorated venues for so many events, usually all for free. He cared for everyone, despite his own adversity. During the last few months when Kerrie was at her lowest, there were many people who helped them both to keep going. And Pearl has asked me to make a special mention of some of them now, particularly their over-the-road neighbours, Maureen and Vince Savlasi and their daughter Beck, who've been beside Kevin from day one, cooking favourite meals like lamb backstraps whenever Kevin was feeling low. And this has been so appreciated. Also, since Kerrie left, Maureen and Vince have been helping with meals and household chores as Pearl's been learning what a washing machine does. And trying to drive a stove. It's all a challenge. But Kerrie's behind him, just there, making sure. Paul and Kerrie have been a very close and loving couple, and this loss is a huge disaster. But Paul's final comment was, that he was so glad they met, and Kerrie will always be remembered with such love. And Pearl, on behalf of us all, thank you. Now, with the help of Sky Brooks, let's look at some of the magical moment in Kevin's amazing 60 years.
Yo estaba bien por un tiempo, volviendo a sonreír. Luego anoche vi tu mano y el saludo de tu voz. Te hablé muy bien y tú, sin saber que he estado llorando por tu amor, llorando por tu amor. Luego de tu adiós sentí todo mi dolor, sola llorando, llorando, llorando. No es fácil de entender que al verte atrás yo estoy llorando. Quiet, please. There's a lady on stage. She may not be the latest rage, but she's singing and she means it, and she deserves a little silence. Quiet, please. There's a woman up there singing of the sins that none of us could ever save for ourselves. So give her your respect, if nothing else. Put your hands together and tell her along. All that's left of the singers, all that's left of the song, and rise to the occasion. we can all go. But she lives on the stage alone, so put your hands together, help her along. All that's left of the singers, all that's left of the song. Won't you rise for the ovation, and won't you give her one last celebration? Put your hands together, help her along. All that's left of the singers, all that's left of this song. Won't you rise for the ovation, and won't you give her one last celebration? Put your hands together, help her along. What's left of the singers, what's left of the song? Put your hands together, help her along. All that's left of the singers, what's left of the song? Won't you rise for the ovation, and won't you give her one last celebration? Everybody, put your hands together, help her along. Let's just stay here all night and sing every song. Won't you rise for the ovation, and won't you give her one last celebration?
Well, on behalf of everyone, I'd like to thank Sky for putting those lovely and making a lovely tableau of all sides of Kevin and Kerrie's personality and talent. Alan Mabry has written a lovely tribute today to Kerrie, and it's read best by someone who knew him really well, Richard Martin, on Alan's behalf. Thanks, Richard.
I'm not 39 anymore. I'm honoured to read this on your behalf, Alan. So the words of Alan. Who would have guessed that Kevin, who grew up in Reservoir in the 50s, would go on to become the most, well, the mother of drag. Working in a deli by day, and by night, he was the toast of the Melbourne drag scene in the 80s and 90s. After he met Paul at the Dover Hotel in 1973, they moved in together. They had one big party every year. And in 1977, that was the first of the very big backyard parties. He'd tell the neighbours that their theatre group was having a fancy dress party to raise money. It reached the stage that they even wanted to buy tickets. The entry was strictly change of sex. You had to be a cross-dresser. They were fabulous nights, but they grew too big for their backyard, so they moved to the North Melbourne Football Social Club. What a shriek to think that a bunch of faggots were camping it up on their hallowed turf. They even got far too big for North Melbourne, and Peter McBean teamed up with them, and the next year they went to the Prince of Wales with wet dreams and a cast of 17 volunteers. The place was packed, they even catered for supper. Jan Hillier booked them to appear on Sundays for a month. Again, everyone knew it was drag that they had to be in drag if they had to attend, and they couldn't get in. It broke down the barriers and the conversations. That's why Kerrie insists on drag. And in 1983, Duke's Hotel in Abbotsford rang and said, "We want 3 males to do drag. Interested?" Well, it started with Coco, Chanel and Kerrie. Then they brought in Tall Timber. The hotel had to remove the tiles from the roof as the stage was on the bar. It was so intimate, Kerrie used to say that he could instantly feel the people's reaction. And that's where Eleanor was born, with the snap blonde hair. And that went on for a couple of years, and they had great guests like Maggie Kirkpatrick, Bunny Brooke, the cast members of the Sullivans, and later Maria Venuti became a favourite. At that time, Kevin was frantic all day at Port's Own Deli, in which he and Paul were partners. It was flat out all the time, and he loved that all the way to the end. Kevin told Alan the following in interviews over the past several years. So these all now are Kevin's words. "Now I'm slowing down with age and not really interested. I think, it's better when you're active, and I'm sort of hyperactive. My friend Kath and I would go home from Bang Lane at 5 a.m. on a Sunday morning, after coffee at Bellaroma's, and I'd be in the kitchen in the deli at 9 o'clock with traces of makeup following me. Putting the roast beefs in the oven, making the coleslaw, that all went on a Sunday. Queens would come in there to help us cook, one on the salmon patties, another on the coleslaw control. I never forget the time I lost my ring in the coleslaw. I couldn't find it anywhere. Tuesday morning, a really good customer came in and said, "Kevin, is this yours?" and burst out laughing. See, that proves it was homemade. The food was beautiful there, before its time, actual fact. They sold the deli in 1985. In another interview by Alan, these are Kevin words again. "I met Ken Payne for the first time at Mandate. I worked for the old cow." And that's been PGI'd, if you want to read between the lines of that, for close to 15 years. 15 years of torture, and I remind him every day of that. At the start, he wanted to get to know me. He had been to one of our backyard parties and said, "You've got great organisational skills, Kevin." No wonder he'd heard of us. All those parties used to leave his club Mandate empty. I'd work in his office by the day, marketing limited edition prints and coin watches. People thought it was just an entertainment empire. It was so much more involved. Ken wanted the Troll Dolls to be performing at the Market Hotel, and they did from 1985 to 1986. And then I did my own thing on Wednesdays at Mandate with the Talent Quest. After he sold the market, we went back to Mandate. They were fabulous days. In another interview, Kevin said to Alan, "Kevin Atwood and I started Le Gore's backyard at Mainframe in St Kilda before transferring it to the Xchange, where I stayed from September the 17th, 1989 to the 1st of November 1992. They gave me a framed plaque, that's how I remember those dates. Then it was full-time at Three Faces." These again are Kevin words. "When I perform, I prefer intimacy with an audience. I like people being right next to me, being physical closely when I'm performing. Others have said to me, 'How could you work with them looking right at you?' But I loved it. I love not being removed. Celebrities never mattered to me at all at any of the shows. I've never done. I've always done there to please and thrill, and by rewarding and interviewing kids that would bring their mums to see the show. I really loved that. To all the mums and sisters I've met meant more to me than celebrities. Mother's Day at Mandate was all the Queens brought their mums along, and how I loved to rummage through their mums' handbags on stage." Kevin said, "I get my inspiration staring out the kitchen window, at home looking at the garden, after watching the news or listening to talkback radio, because it tells you what's going on outside. I always like to add it with a twist or a gay sort of slant." Kevin said to Alan, Pearl has always been the love of my life. Always been there and always will. We're opposites, except we both love animals and garden. The rest, we're completely opposite. Kevin said, I always don't want to be doing drag at 96, but I'm saying there's no time period on it. I love comparing. Forget miming, it's the mic I love. The intimacy of being close to the crowd. I don't mind it when I'm a part of a production crowd, a show like I Am What I Am or the Lipstix signature song, I Will Survive. But it's the talking I love. He said, success is all to do with rapport that you have with the punters. You've got to rub shoulders with them, you've got to make them feel part of the show. I'd stand and have a ciggy with them. One said to me, thank you for making me feel confident to come to a gay bar by myself. Our shows gave him a reason to start a conversation with someone nearby, something in common to talk about. So you see, you can get away with murder as long as the crowd sees you're having a good time. As Carol Tempe recalls, the shows were outrageous and memorable. Kerrie would say to Carol, just think, people pay us to have this much fun. Tabitha arranged a reunion at Dick's Hotel, really how appropriate, a fortnight ago with many of the people Kerrie used to perform with. And Alan dropped Kerrie at home at 11:30 as Pearl was arriving home from work. Kerrie turned and said, I've had one of the best nights I've had for years. It's just brilliant that we can catch up after all these decades. He was so very happy. That was the last time I saw him, and what a high I go out on. And I would just like to say to Maureen and Judy that I am not the man and the person without Kevin and Kerrie. And I thank them for that. And to Paul, on behalf of the tens of thousands of people that have enjoyed Kerrie and Kevin's company, thank you for the sacrifices and sharing him with us. I used to talk to Kerrie quite often during the week, but I met Maureen and Judy first in the 80s at the football. And I've got to share a story that we always used to have. Kerrie and I used to talk before every Collingwood game. And we would say, okay, because we both had lost our mothers, we're going to have to call on Poss and Noreen to bring the goals in that night or that day. And we'd always be calling on them. And at the end of every conversation that before the game, I used to say to him, I hope your team wins. And he'd say, I hope your team wins. So Kerrie, Kevin, next year, our team better win.
Richard, on behalf of all of us, thank you very much for reading Alan's words so well. And Alan, on behalf of us all, thank you for a great tribute to a great friend. Please join me. Thank you. Kerrie did some amazing performances, as you'll see here, and another tribute put together by Kevin Atwood.
In your heart, since the start of every night and every day. In your eyes, I get lost, I get washed away. Just as long as I'm here in your arms, I could be in no better place. You're simply the best, better than all the rest, better than anyone I ever met. You're the best. You'll never see a dark cloud hanging round me. Now there is only blue sky.
you surround me. There's never been a gray day since you found me. Everything I touch is turning to gold. So you can color my world with sunshine, yellow each day. Oh, you can color my world with happiness all the way. Just take the green from the grass and the blue from the sky up above. And if you color my world, just paint it with your love. Just color my world.
You don't have to say you love me, just be close at hand. You don't have to stay forever, I will understand. Believe me, believe me. You don't have to say you love me, just be close at hand. You don't have to stay forever, I will understand. Believe me, believe me, believe me. Tap your troubles away. Just tap your troubles away. Troubles away. Troubles away. Troubles away.
Golden words he will pour in your ear, but his lies can't disguise what you feel. For a golden girl knows when he's kissed her, it's the kiss of death from Mr. Goldfinger.
You gotta come along right now, 'cause I tell you, I know a place where the music is fine and the lights are always low. I know a place where we can go.
Oh, now go, walk out the door, just turn around now. You're not welcome anymore. Weren't you the one who tried to break me with goodbye? You think I'd crumble? You think I'd lay down and die? Oh no, not I will survive. Oh, as long as I know how to love, I know I'll be alive. I've got all my life to live, I've got all my love to give, and I'll survive. I will survive. I will survive. I will survive. I will survive.
We've had some wonderful times and you've enjoyed it. I hope you have. I know we've had some fun putting it together, and I'd like to say one thing. If you're going to do it safely. Good night. God bless. Thank you.
I'm always traveling. I love being free. And so I keep leaving the sun and the sea. But my heart lies waiting over the foam. I still call Australia. Still call Australia. And he says he walks and waits until it's clearly
Well, wasn't that amazing? What talent. And a hard act to follow. And now let me introduce Debbie Golding and Craig Till, to caress to many of you, who worked with Kevin at Three Faces for more than a decade. And they've been going to the football together for years and years. So thanks, Debbie and Craig.
Hello, today we're going to speak about some of Kevin's passions whilst reflecting on the joy that he brought to us all.
In our younger days, Debbie and I and a small group of friends were extremely fortunate to be welcomed into a larger family circle. Two of them were Kevin and Paul. Fondly we were referred to as the children, and as such we found ourselves being educated in many ways. This mentoring role seemed to resonate easily with Kevin as he was so passionate about so many things. Firstly, his food. I'm sure many person here today had the pleasure of being a guest at Kevin and Paul's for dinner, whether it be just a roast, or leftovers, which usually meant whatever Pearl didn't polish off the night before, or a more formal dinner party where there would be numerous anecdotes and stories circulating and captivating the table. More often than not, you would have a rundown of every ingredient within every recipe and how it was prepared, usually told with more description than Nigella Lawson and with more love than Jamie Oliver. He attempted to educate me on plants and flowers. He would explain in quite detail what was required to have certain blooms flower as they should, which ones required a lot of sun, and those that shouldn't be watered too often. He loved the magnolia tree they have growing in Carramar Avenue. In fact, he would say that that was one of the main reasons they moved there. One home he shared with Paul and friends was in Sandringham, where a notorious lemon tree grew. However, Deb and I had more interest in the in-ground trampoline in the backyard than anything else in their garden. There were vital education sessions that a young performer needed to know. How to draw a black socket, how to use an ale, and how to drink VB with a straw. And of course, it was essential that we knew the songs from the 60s superstars. Dusty, Petula, Scylla, the Supremes, and of course Miss Bessie. Next to Paul and family, his biggest love were his dogs. Nick, Kane, Buster, George, Sambo, Zoom and Cookie. Yet there was another passion that came very closely behind, and this was one that we the children were fortunate enough to share. Football. Along with Paul, family and friends, Kevin adored his football, or more precisely his Collingwood, and he loved the social aspect that this brought with it.
Kevin used to go to football with Ray Beattie, Bob Lottie Lonsdale, Barry Smith, Keith Ritchie, Wayne Maloney, George Lanham, Laurie Leonard, Ron Charmaine Teague, Gary Rodwell and Sarah Davies. Kevin revelled in this atmosphere. The Collingwood network was very vast. He made friends very easily, and having been surrounded by women at his home, this influenced him in many ways. For example, he had a very caring and nurturing nature. He was the life of the party, but the secret to his success was his ability to listen and take an interest in everyone he met. No matter what age or station in life, people flocked to him. Through Collingwood and his family connections at the Pies, he made lifelong friends. Adrian, Robin, Leslie, Puppet, Rana, Marie, Gary and Vass, just to name a few. Many more were from opposing clubs. It was war for 2 hours on a Saturday afternoon, then afterwards it was all forgotten and it was time to party.
From Hawthorn there was Shirl, Spiro, Faye, Wander and Don.
From Essendon, Swanee, Doreen, Squash, Iris and Timber.
There were many others from various clubs like Dale Cook and Dot, and surprisingly with Carlton. Friends like Nola, Muffy, Angela Enola, Neil Halliday and Tony Dogwell. And of course probably the most special lifelong friendship he made from Carlton, the one he had with Paul.
Who would have thought that Carlton and Collingwood could live together under the same roof for 22 years without killing each other? The common denominator that kept us football folk in touch was Kevin. He was our glue. It was Kevin that brought us together, whether it be at the garage parties and the North Melbourne Social Club parties, which we missed out on those, or the barbecues at Paul and Kevin's home. Then there was the organised picnics at Studley Park and Puff and Billy, and the off-season tennis tournaments that we used to stage. I remember arriving early at Paul and Kevin's place for a barbie at Carramar Avenue. And just before everyone was to arrive, Kevin started closing all the windows in the house. I questioned what was he doing, and he replied, "I can't put the neighbours through it. They'll never talk to me again if they hear the stories in the language." His concern was regarding a good friend and lady, Judy Francis. Judy was North Melbourne and did a lot of work at the club, in particular the North Melbourne Players in Concert. Once she asked Kevin and Timber for their help, and I spoke to Timber during the week, and he recalled what had transpired, and we're going to quote him.
I still remember the Sunday morning Kerrie and I drove over to the North Ground in Kerrie's big double up. We were shitting ourselves as Judy had told the players she had a couple of pulls to help out. And we were about to meet the whole team, including Ron Barassi. Well, Judy takes us into the dressing room after training, and the players were showering, walking around in all sorts of undies. We didn't know where to look. But the players were great to us, an incredible experience. Kerrie was mental for Roy Ramsey, I myself was a Glendinney man.
And Timber sends his love to Paul, Judy and Maureen. And one of Kevin's recollections about that time that he shared with me was that Barassi seemed a bit standoffish when he first met him. And then there was one night that he asked Kevin to step outside because he wanted to talk with him privately. And Kevin thought, here we go. But what Barassi said shocked him. He said, "Thank you, you've galvanised this playing group like that I've never been able to." Luckily, he didn't actually know what Kevin's antics were a few years earlier when he removed the batteries in the walkie-talkies they used at Victoria Park and the opposition coach's box and the players. Kerrie and Timber had the respect of all the North players and got on famously with them. So much so that dual Brownlow medalist Keith Gregg gave Kerrie his 2 Brownlow medals for him to wear out his earrings one night. And this is not the only connection Kerrie had with North. Kevin's dad was an avid follower of the Shimboners, and he hoped his son would have the same passion for the club. However, his rebellious streak had him siding with the influential women of his life. That's his mother Poss and his sisters Maureen and Judy, and their love for the black and white. As a tribute to their husband and father, the 3 Minogue girls were at the 75 grand final at the MCG, where North won their first premiership against Hawthorn, and Kevin also barracked for North that day. Kevin stopped going to the football around 1979. He was disenchanted with the way the AFL was heading and was also sick of the heartache of losing the grand finals, but he still watched them religiously on TV. In 1990, when Collingwood made the grand final, he was offered grand final tickets, but he was steadfast that he didn't deserve them and didn't go. He revelled in the victory though. He went to Victoria Park that night, but as he felt he hadn't been going to the matches, he didn't go into the social club or out on the field. Rather, he sat quietly in the Sharon stand and soaked it all up.
He's still the only person who has been able to get me, an avid Carlton supporter, to don a Collingwood jumper. That was to accompany him to Victoria Park that grand final night. I remember quite vividly that he said, "Caress, come on, there'll be loons everywhere there, get on with it."
Needless to say, the celebrations the following day were wild, not to mention the night at the Xchange Hotel with the crowd throwing cut-up paper, or what we refer to as snow, throughout the whole venue.
Kevin started going to games again and he enjoyed it immensely. The knee replacements curtailed his travels somewhat though. His last game was a Collingwood Carlton game a few years ago where he went with another Collingwood friend, Corey. I have a vague recollection that may have been Collingwood winning that day. Kerrie and Kerrie regularly texted each other about football shenanigans, and a common theme was his love-hate relationship with Carlton. He loved the debacle Mick Malthouse had made of Carlton, and he hated the fact that Carlton hadn't sacked him before he overtook John McCar's record. The last couple of years, Kevin participated in an online footy comp called the Lady Tippers. This indulged him along with other diehards on a regular basis. This year he didn't place, unlike his dog Zoo, who won first place in the pet comp. But he did receive a lifetime achievement cushion for making the funniest comments on that weekly Facebook feed. Comments such as, "I think Zoo's going to be a Collingwood supporter because he is a thoroughbred, and I think Cookie will be Carlton because he's a touch brain damaged."
And just on Facebook, Craig mentioned earlier we took counsel from Kevin on many levels. As an example, which I think a few of the tech-savvy people in the room are going to find is quite surprising, he taught me how to use Facebook. When explaining the concept of requesting, accepting and declining friends, he said there was only one person that he had declined, and that was Molly Meldrum. To quote him, every time I run into him, he still brings up 66, so I can go and get it at least. For the non-football people, he was referring to the grand final of 1966 where Molly's St Kilda beat Kevin's Collingwood by a point.
He would delight in people's attempt at criticising his beloved Collingwood. He always had to come back and was completely unfazed at times.
Collingwood supporters have no teeth.
Yes, we like it that way.
Collingwood supporters are feral.
Exactly, and you're jealous because you'll never be one of us.
I was pelted with a pie in front of the Sheridan stand when I walked around the boundary line getting ready to hold up the run-through.
Fabulous.
But there are two words that can stop him in his stride. Gold jacket. This referred to a Collingwood identity known as Joffa, who wears a gold sequin jacket. Kerrie would cringe whenever he was featured.
The irony here is that his Collingwood friends, Corey and David, recently bought Kevin Joffa's new book, and they had it autographed with a personalised message. However, Kerrie never had the pleasure of receiving it. His message read,
Kerrie, you're the only Collingwood fan who looks as good as I do in gold sequin.
Thank you both for those stirring reflections and great stories. Many of you here will fondly remember Le Gore's backyard, which started at Mandate, later moved to the Xchange Hotel where it ran from the 17th of September 1989 until the 1st of November 1992. It grew from humble beginnings to become a Melbourne institution, just like the good old Aussie rules that Le Gore loved so much. Le Gore brought her backyard to life, making it Coronation Street, Ramsay Street and Rodeo Drive all rolled into one. But before we hear any more of that, Ken Payne will be the first to acknowledge the indisputable role that Kerrie played in his empire. First at Commercial Roads Market and later Mandate and Three Faces. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ken Payne.
Forgive me if I struggle a little with this. I'm going to read it because I might lose the plot. For most of you here today, Kevin Kerrie Le Gore was out there in the good days before ill health lessened his forays into the clubs and bars as the queen bee of drag. But for me, he was much more than that, though it was a key part of his time in my own venues. To me, KLG, as I invariably called him, was the Barry Humphries of the gay scene, using a frock and a bonnet, like Barry has done in Edna, to create the Kerrie Le Gore we came to love and cherish. And again, like Barry, it allowed him to do what he loved doing most, looking at the world in general, and at our scene in particular, with a microphone in his hand, and making merry with it. And as we all know, he had no equal in that. But there was another Kev, the one who was with me in West Samoa in 1990, planning the establishment of Three Faces, whilst Paulie was buying the house in Carramar Avenue. We had by this stage worked together from the early 80s, after I had indeed courted him for what I saw was an incredible talent. Not to not only entertain, but to understand the daily grind of running not only venues, but business in general. I'd actually been to Portone Deli in the early days as one of my oldest friends, Loretta not so young, now living in Bali, had a house in the area and sent me around the corner for food. And as he had heard, it was run by a couple of sisters. It was my first time seeing KLG at work and without a bonnet. The next times would be fundraisers at North Melbourne and then the immortal Troll Dolls at the Duke Hotel on the other side of town. When you are in business and you see great talent, of course you pursue it. So Le Gore came to work for me, not only to devise entertainment for Manday, but to become part of a team that made it function, along with a growing number of other interests I had. And his organisational skills were second to none. And it was a kind of family concern, as Paul and his cleaning business was to be part of it all too, right up until I left Three Faces. The original Market Hotel was a nightmare partnership, but a brilliant success for me, and topped off by the troll boats crossing the river to make it one of the hottest places to be seen at. It also had a great restaurant where they performed. KLG as a compere would love to drag some poor, unsuspecting girl, known affectionately as a scrubber to the wall, onto the stage and then proceed to go through her handbag. Unfortunately, one night he actually had one up that had, once the bag was open, 6 wine glasses purloined from her dinner table. Without missing a beat, as he counted them out, he looked at me and said, "Poor bitches from Footscray, surely you can get the kitchen to give her a matching set of crockery. We can all go to her place for dinner." KLG was by now an absolute confidant who knew everything about me, my business workings and my partnership problems, and my dreams for making Commercial Road the hub of the gay scene. Though I would leave it for a couple of years and concentrate on Mandate and my other business interests, the Xchange Hotel would see the great comedian raconteur talents of Kevin shine in Le Gore's backyard. I would return to Commercial Road in 1990, buying back my old establishment, known as Checkpoint Charlie. And for the next 9 years, it was Three Faces and the bailiwick of KLG. His brief was simple, but like herding cats, unenviable, as he was entertainment director, and known simply as God. Three Faces was in its day a major club, not only for the gay scene, but many of the actors from the TV soapies who loved to come and be part of the night. There was one other key player in those days, and that was Richard Martin, as general manager. And as a team, they had created some amazing outcomes. Let me give you just a brief list. And because so many involved skilled diplomacy with councils and other bureaucrats, Le Gore made it clear, often, that I had the negotiating skills of a Mack truck in these matters, and it was best left to them. They set up the Commercial Road Traders Association. At its peak, 65 businesses were involved. Convinced the council, tramways, fire brigade and every other petty official involved, along with all the traders, to have the street closed once a year and create diversity, to bring all elements of the community to mingle and be entertained. A massive success in a time of fear about gay people and AIDS. One of the reasons we got the council to give us a hearing, in the first place, was that they would listen to Kevin Minogue, as they thought he was related in some way to Kyle. We never told them otherwise. KLG and I, along with Jan Hillier from Pokies, Bill Saunders from the Peel and Club 80 and Ron Watkins from the Laird, met to formulate a joint effort in dealing with the social outcomes and needs of HIV patients early in its arrival on our shores. It would turn into the VAC much later, when the government finally became involved. The candlelight vigils, the enormous fundraisers at the Laird Hotel, all had KLG's hand in it. They were also a key part in getting the Midsummer Carnival up and running, and it still is, in its first outing in the corner of Albert Park Lake, fronting Fitzroy Street in St Kilda, where the gay pride marches take place each year. Now, I can give you a lot more, that is just so typical of how much behind what you see here today. There's this other brilliant working brain. It has already been known that KLG was not impressed with celebrities, though in fact he was himself just that, and for all the right reasons. With a remake of Three Faces during the Virgin Mary times and the creation of the piano bar on the mezzanine floor, we saw the likes of John Foreman pounding the keyboards, even the gorgeous Dominic, who sang here so beautifully today, headline there. Great names such as Denise Drysdale were coaxed into doing our Christmas pantomimes by KLG. And international stars such as Kylie Minogue, who had flown from England for a major tour, joined in one night during a tribute show to her that caused the headlines such as Kylie and Gay Romp the following day. Molly Meldrum rang to say Madonna wanted to come by, but only if there wasn't a queue. Try and keep something like that a secret in our game. We had people down to Chapel Street once to get in that night. Madonna drove past and didn't come in. Le Gore looked at me and said, "No doubt we will be accused of making that up by one of the gossip columnists, as we are so often on so many other things." KLG really hated that side of the press and would often say to me, as he did last year at my 70th birthday, "Why don't you set the record straight about it? And Virgin Mary's, the creation of the Xchange and the original Market Hotel, and all the other rot that gets bandied around." Now, maybe, sweetheart, I just might one day. There are many more things about KLG I could tell you, but we'd be here till sundown. So just a couple more before I finish. Marcy Flynn, who is here today, and a great friend of KLG's, brought to our then offices in 400 St Kilda Road, where the ill-fated and fatal business decisions of building Precinct 3 and A2 were situated, a proposal to produce sandballs with Looney Tunes characters in them. In our monthly board meetings, I tabled it. Le Gore sat in on not only club matters, but ideas such as this, as he was my most trusted sounding board on all things. "Well," he said, "you've got a 2-bob watch company, a strip wax company that has most of us hairless as you test it out on us all. Why not Looney Tunes? It seems the perfect fit." He didn't agree, of course, with it, and he was right, but we are all still and remained close, even after its demise. And that was true of Precinct 3182. And right through my crash and burn stage, he was there, keeping me from sitting on the train track at Malmesbury as the bank sold everything off. When it was done, and all that was left was the old Mandate site and 3 faces, still indebted but manageable, I went to Le Gore and said, "I simply can't do this anymore." He quietly went away to his friend Spiro Condas and put us together so we could do a deal. And that is how it became the Market Hotel again. Before I tell you this last piece, it would be remiss if I didn't say to Dr. Norman Roth and his team at PMC, thank you for your incredible gift and an extra 20 years that you gave to my beloved friend and confidant by putting him on those early trials. We had KLG's 40 at 3 faces and never expected to see him to his 41st. I'd lost a great love of my life to AIDS the year before, after his 40th with us there. For me, you were miracle workers. Many considered one of the highlights of the 3 Faces calendar was the birthday week. Part of that was us as management and staff doing a drag show. And yes, Peter Robertson, I believe you donned a frock as well. And the drag artists would do the bar. We dumped that last idea after the first year. Nails. In the latter part of the 90s, I decided to do my final show and to perform in the finale as Kathy Jo Pavlova, a name Le Gore always called me whenever I went on stage, and something I hated doing. He couldn't compare as usual, but promised to be there if he could. He was totally unaware that I would come out as a ballerina in Miss Candy's cut-down wedding frock and in proper ballet shoes, on point throughout. I still have 3 missing toes to prove it. Le Gore was upstairs with a microphone, laughing his head off, and then insisted it be done again, urging the crowd to make us do so. The music started halfway through the actual number, the streamers were flying all over the stage, and it was bloody chaos. It was also one of the happiest nights of my life. So, my prince among men, I have no idea what the universe has in store for any of us. But if you are in the corridors to eternity and end up at St. Peter's Gate, I know you'll be organising another Le Gore's backyard. Please remember to leave a ticket at the gate for me.
Thank you so much, Ken. Thank you. Alan has given me just a little about three faces that I would like to read. That, as Ken has said, for years Commercial Road was the hub of the Melbourne gay scene. And much of this was a tribute to the vision of Ken, who opened the Market Hotel on the 20th of September 1984 with Kerrie Le Gore as entertainment director. The Troll Dolls were the major attraction, opening in November 1986. It later became Three Faces, which closed in '99, ending 9 fabulous years of stunning entertainment. And some of the great drag shows, the Lipstix, the Troll Dolls, Skybrook's New Wigs on the Block, the Fab Three, and PZR were highlights. Kerrie Le Gore, Miss Candide, Doreen Meganini, Tabitha, Dawn Syndrome, Caress, Sue Ridge, Barbara Quicksand, Rita and Paris were just a few of the stars to grace its stage. And the era ended on Sunday the 19th of September 1999 in a mammoth show featuring every drag act that ever had appeared on the Three Faces stage. And Kerrie was definitely and indeed the matriarch of drag in Melbourne, helping bring all of this to realisation. And Skybrook has made some wonderful graphics to help capture some of the magic that was Three Faces. But unfortunately, Sky has been caught up and trapped in Queensland, so this particular Three Faces tribute will be available to you on YouTube in the next few days, but not right now. But instead, as well as, Kevin Atwood's put together a video celebrating the groundbreaking work that Kevin did establishing Gore's backyard. So let's enjoy it now with Le Gore's Backyard Tribute by Kevin Atwood.
Hi, I'm Kerrie Le Gore from Le Gore's Backyard.
Give me a home among the gum trees, Le Gore's backyard.
The whispers in the morning of lovers sleeping tight are rolling by like thunder now as I look in your eyes. I hold on to your body and feel each move you make. Your voice is warm and tender, a love that I could not forsake, 'cause I am your lady and you are my man. Whenever you reach for me, I'll do all that I can. Lost is how I'm feeling.
What a wonderful tribute. And I thank everyone involved in the making of it. And wasn't she talented? We have one last sentiment from Tabitha, who found a lovely reading called You Can Shed Tears by David Harkins. You can shed tears that she's gone, or you can smile because she lived. You can close your eyes and pray that she'll come back, or you can open your eyes and see all that she's left. Your heart can be empty because you can't see her, or you can be full of the love that you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live yesterday, or you can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. You can remember her and only that she is gone, or you can cherish her memory and let it live on. You can cry, close your mind, be empty and turn your back. Or you can do what she'd want. Smile, open your eyes, love, and go on. And to wind things up, I'm going to read a Facebook tribute by Lawrence Akers. Lawrence said, I've been thinking often about Kerrie this week, certainly about the fact that she was taken way, way too soon from us. And it made me feel so grateful that I and many gay men my age had the opportunity to experience not just a talented performer, but a wonderful host, and most certainly a gorgeous human being. When I think back on my own coming out, I often find flashes of Kerrie's shows coming back to mind, especially the Lipstix and Le Gore's backyard. And it felt like such a wonderful time. We could go out back then, enjoy a few drinks, a fabulous show, and a circle of awesome friends. It feels like times have changed, and I'm so pleased that I got to experience that time. And I got to have Kerrie Le Gore as part of that experience. Thank you, Kerrie. I hope wherever you are, that you know that you're not ever going to be forgotten. And I thank Lawrence. Ladies and gentlemen, could I ask you please to stand for our final farewell together? But if standing is difficult, please remain seated. It's with reverence and tenderness that we commit the body of Kevin Minogue, Kerrie Le Gore, to the elements. We're grateful for the life that has been lived and all that life has meant to us. We will remember Kevin's life by the memories he leaves behind, and those of us who feel deeply will grieve deeply. For no philosophy or religion ever taught can prevent this holy natural reaction of our human hearts. We come into this world with nothing, and we depart with nothing, but the memories we leave behind with our friends and our family. They're a mark of our life's successes. Nothing can now detract from the joy and the friendship that you shared with Kevin, and nothing can possibly affect the happiness and the depth of experience that he knew. You will remember him as a vital, living presence, and that memory will bring solace to your hearts and strengthen you in times of trouble. These are the reflections that you treasure, for there can never be too much friendship in the world. never too much human warmth or too much love. Kevin John Minogue, Kerrie Le Gore, brother, much loved partner, fellow entertainer, generous friend. We bid you farewell and leave you in peace as you leave this chapel today. May you rest in peace.
Choose it, win or lose it. Love is never quite the same. I love you, now I've lost you. Don't feel bad, you're not to blame. So kiss me goodbye, and I'll try not to cry. All the tears in the world won't change your mind. There's someone new, and she's waiting for you. Soon your heart will be leaving me behind. Linger a while, then I'll go with a smile, like a friend who just happened to call. For the last time, pretend you are mine, my darling. Kiss me goodbye. I know now I must go now, though my heart wants me to stay. That girl is your tomorrow. I belong to yesterday. So kiss me goodbye, and I'll try not to cry. All the tears in the world won't change your mind. There's someone new, and she's waiting for you. Soon your heart will be leaving me behind. Linger a while, then I'll go with a smile, like a friend who just happened to call. For the last time, pretend you are mine, my darling. Kiss me goodbye, my darling. Kiss me goodbye.
A special thanks to Kevin Atwood, Sky Brooks, Tabitha, Caress, Rita and Alan Mabry, who've all worked tirelessly to make today possible, and Corey and Michael, who've been so supportive for years to Kerrie. I will ask close friends now to assist with the final vow. Tabitha, Miss Candy, Carol Tempany, Peter Gonard, Corey Hiscock, Sue Ridge, Roland Pocock and Richard Martin. Please wait for Peter Robertson and his staff to call you forward to support Kevin or Kerrie on his final journey. I ask you please to allow the family the courtesy of leaving the chapel first. And I ask you to please, on your way out, take a black or a white balloon for us all to release on a countdown as the hearse leaves. Not sure what the aerodromes are going to wonder about all these wonderful black and white balloons, but please don't let them off until we count them down. We'll count down from 5 as Kerrie leaves us. And Craig, Ty and Tabitha are going to assist with the distribution of the balloons. I thank you and ask you please to stand as we bid a final farewell.
opportunity.